Nishino-san wakes up from her sleep and goes into the shower to have her bath in order to prepare for school. While she opens the door to leave, she has a vision of a brief flashback, and this makes her scared. Her driver calls her attention and they head to school. When she gets to school, she is greeted by her friends. She heads to the hallway, and there she meets Kagino-kun, whom she despises because he always had a way of pissing her off. Kagino seems pretty aware of this bit, but it doesn't seem to bother him. To piss her off once again, he calls her a name that isn't hers, and while she tries to correct him, he doesn't pay her any attention. She becomes angry and yells at him, calling him a jerk. Meanwhile, in the classroom, her classmates come to meet her and ask about the shows she's featuring in. She, however, seizes the opportunity to boast about her goals to them. At break time, she goes to the washroom. While there, she looks at herself in the mirror, and this causes her to remember an incident that happened in middle school, and how this had led to her start hiding behind a mask. Back in class, her teacher asks if anyone would want to volunteer for the school festival, and Nishino raises her hand. However, her teacher declines her show of interest, saying that she has makeup lessons. Hearing this, her other classmates laugh at her and mock her with how busy she always is. Eventually, the teacher goes ahead to pick Kagino, who accepts to volunteer right away. Now sad, she sits in class and is haunted by the thought that she has always been acting in a way so that her teacher and everyone would love her and not hate her. But this didn't seem to be the case. After school, she calls her driver to come pick her up, but he does not pick up her call. Unfortunately, at the time, he is getting beaten up by some thugs who cause him to bleed. Kagino watches from the top of the school and sees Nishino-san walking home on her own. On her way home, she feels that someone is following her and she looks behind to see an unknown man behind her. Thus, that prompts her to run. While running, she was obstructed by a vehicle and two other men came out of the car. Catching her, they take her into the car and make her unconscious. After a while, Nishino wakes up in a building and finds her hands and legs are tied up, and she struggles to free herself. At that moment, she sees two men in front of her and listens to them as they mock her and tell her that her father has a lot of enemies and they have sent a ransom note to him. Later on, one of the men tries to rape her and tells her that he knows of her past experience. Furthermore, he reminds her of the last time she was kidnapped and promises to give her a new experience. He proceeds to tear the bottom of her shirt and she struggles to free herself. Meanwhile, Kagino had seen her being taken earlier, and in a bid to save her, he positions himself outside the abandoned building and changes into a new outfit. In order to not be recognized by Nishino, he puts on a mask. After that, he breaks in and kills the man who tries to rape Nishino. Then he proceeds to fight the other huge man as he learns that the man was formerly a member of the army. Kagino beats up the man and cuts his hand with a crowbar. Eventually, he kills the man and walks towards Nishino, who is now very scared. He sets her free and tells her to be more careful when she's walking home, after which he disappears, and surprisingly she's unable to see him again. Nishino goes home wondering who her savior is and reports the incident to the police. However, due to her father's influence, the police never get to know what happened in the building that night. The following day, Nishino-san goes to school like nothing had all happened the previous day. When she sees Kagino, she reluctantly greets him, and this time he gets her name correctly, to her greatest surprise. She also notices that he is looking directly at her and she becomes bothered. The next day, Kagino is reported to be hit by a truck on the news and is said to have died. Although he wakes up and finds himself in a new environment and in a new world, he realizes that he's also surrounded by an army which he has the power to command and are ready to follow his every instruction. Still trying to figure out what's going on, he jumps off the building and is followed by his army. Then he remembers his past life and sets new goals for himself, calling himself the Eminence in Shadows. What exactly do you think happened to Kagino? We'll find out when the next episode is released. For now, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel to get more exciting anime recaps like this. Until next time, do take care and stay safe. Eileen Lorraine d'Autriche, the last daughter of the Duke, finds herself to be useless in many ways, especially since she is the last and only child. There is no way she can reach her siblings, and she eventually stops trying. She ultimately finds a use for herself when Prince Cedric Jean Elmire asks her to marry him at 8. Being engaged to the prince is a great thing, especially for someone like her, so she decides to work herself out so she will be fit for that position. As a result, she overworks herself and becomes a proud empress, and she loses all friends she could have had for the sole purpose of getting married to the prince. Unfortunately, during one of their city's programs, Cedric announces that he wants to break his engagement with her and publicly announce his relationship with Lilia Renoise, a maid. She, however, says she has expected the breakup as it looks like a game she played in her past life, and she realized her life is recreating that game. So instead of crying about her breakup, she leaves there elegantly. She remembers that in her game, the Otome game, there are 3 regalia: the regalia of saints, demon, and maiden, and she is a member of the Holy Sword of Maiden, and she is the villainess. She died in the game when the Demon King reawakened. She realizes that if she wants to survive, she has to ensure the Demon King doesn't awake. She goes to the demon forest, and after arguing with some demons, she finds a gate and the Demon King, Prince Claude Jean Elmire. Claude is the half-brother of Cedric, and he loses his throne when they find out that he's a Demon King at the age of 10. And he's banished to a place in the forest. She tells Claude that she wants to marry him. He's very shocked about this, and he sends her back with a spell that will make her forget the way to the forest. She gets home and she gets an invite to Cedric's marriage ball. In the invite, she finds she must sign a contract to break her former engagement, which will humiliate her again. So she decides to return to Claude and beg him to be her date, but she can't find her way. She picks a forest animal and sedates him so she will force Claude out. She asks him to be her date, and he refuses again. During their negotiation, Claude discovers a Fenrir cub has escaped from its cage. She offers to bring it back, and she goes to the school and rescues the cub. Cedric sees her there and accuses her of wanting to use the demon cub to poison Lilia. But Claude comes to clear her name and takes her away with a spirit chariot. He asks her why she wants to marry him, and she explains the game. He doesn't believe her, so he lets her fall. He eventually goes to carry her and they hug. Eileen's father tells her that Cedric has taken all her businesses as a result of the way she drafted their contract. He tells her their family is now at a loss, and she has to repay the debts before the ball. Coincidentally, she meets Jasper, a journalist who owes her a favor. She tells Jasper to help her with some work. She returns to Claude and tells him that she wants to repair the demon castle and bring humans for the repair. Shockingly, Claude accepts her suggestions without much argument. He even tells his human aide, Keith, to find out how much the palace owes them and how they will take the funds so that they can use them to repair the castle. She tells them that she asks Jasper to research the debts, and she also asks Claude if she can use some part of the forest for Croft. Before she leaves, Claude attaches her shadow to the demon gate, thereby allowing her to call any demon. She comes to the demon forest with Jasper and Donnie, Rook, Quartz, and Isaac, who works for Eileen in her pharmaceutical workshop, taken over by Cedric. Claude shows them the leaking part of the castle, and she tells Jasper to work with Keith so they can find out about the embezzlement. She tells her colleagues to research a new medical product that is likely a beauty product that can enhance women's beauty, since she can't invest in the same product she was inventing again. She says she will be the first to use the product to know of its efficacy, and she will confirm if it's good when she succeeds in being more beautiful than Claude for the ball. As the building and production continue at the Demon Palace, Cedric hears about Eileen's good works. Also, Jasper and Keith do their research, and Beelzebub, Claude's demon aide, asks Eileen to teach him manners so he can attend the balls too. When Claude and Eileen watch the workers, Keith and Jasper come to tell them that Eileen is being framed as the person sending threatening letters to Lilia. The sender is using high-quality perfume paper and using Eileen's name, so people think she's the sender. Eileen remembers something like that happening in the game, and she was the one sending in the game. But in this reality, she's being framed. She calls a demon to help her with some palace documents, but Claude fears he won't be able to protect himself. But Eileen says she will fight if humans hurt the demon. Flattered by her kind heart, he asks her to ask for anything, and she asks him to promise to escort her well to the ball, which he promises. Meanwhile, at the palace, Cedric tries to appease his fiancée and insists that Eileen is the sender and he will punish her. This is the third season of the anime The Daily Life of the Immortal King. Wang Ling arrives at a restaurant to eat a bowl of noodles. Suddenly, a demon comes out and interrupts him from eating his meal. He becomes angry and smashes the table. The demon tries to attack him, but he's saved by a helicopter that shoots missiles at the demon. The demon falls to the ground and Wang watches, but he's not happy because he did not get to eat his meal, and he's very hungry. The next day at school, Lin's friends are complaining about their school being repaired because it was demolished by the demons, and they had not completed their assignments. Unknown to them, Wang uses Froggy's power to put the school back in place. Meanwhile, Lin tells them about her new sister, whom she just found, and the boys begin to congratulate her. Suddenly, a very expensive limousine pulls up in front of their school, and a very long red carpet is rolled out. Sun comes down from the limousine and greets her brothers and sisters. Lin admires her, and shortly after, a helicopter comes down into the school premises. The students become worried that another princess has joined their faction in their school. Sun stares at the new girl, who is asking her if she's the most popular girl in the faction. At that moment, Sun sees her brother and goes to class with him, ignoring her. While in class, the students talk about the new girl and her family and how powerful she is. While they do so, the new girl comes in and the students in the class all keep quiet as they introduce the new girl into the faction. The guard introduces her as a new exchange student and tells them to be nice to her because of her family's status. Shortly after, she challenges Sun to a battle and tells her that if she wins, she will replace her as the most popular girl in the faction. Suddenly, the head teacher comes in and tells the new girl that she is an ordinary class, and she becomes very angry and leaves the class through the roof. Still angry, she kills her personal servant for allowing her to stay in an ordinary class after neglecting his plea for a second chance. After that, she comes up with a plan to have Sun do battle with her. That same day, Sun is walking with her brother in a corridor, and Kimia comes in and tells Sun that she has a gift for her brother Wang. Wang rushes to collect the gift, and she uses the opportunity to challenge Sun to a battle. Sun becomes very angry and accepts her challenge. But the princess tells her that she's not ready to fight with her, but to test her talent in a cooking competition. The next day at the cooking competition, Sun and the princess are ready to cook for her brother Wang, who is the judge. They begin to cook, and Kimia uses her magic to come up with very delicious noodles and gives them to Wang. Wang tastes the food, but it doesn't feel any different. Sun, on the other hand, has been battling to cook noodles as she does not know how to cook. Sun mixes the spice together with her last sachet of noodles and mixes it the way her brother Wang likes to eat his noodles. Wang eats it happily, which makes Sun the winner of the contest. Sun takes her brother and leaves the competition, making Kimia very angry. Froggy wakes up from a dream about his birthday when he was very young and comes out of his dog cage. He digs a hole and buries his dog food. Suddenly, he gets a notification on his phone telling him that today is his birthday. Wang comes in and pours him new food on his plate and tells him that he plans on celebrating Froggy's birthday. In class Elite, a secret birthday campaign was formed for Froggy, and they all volunteered to get items and food for the birthday. Sun informs them that they will need a birthday egg, and Wang tells them that it's a custom for one to have a birthday egg during a birthday celebration. Wang volunteers to get the birthday egg and leaves the class. Suddenly, Froggy comes in and they all hide the plans for his birthday. Xiao Yu is given a task to take Froggy for a walk, but she complains that she has not completed her homework. Later on, Froggy drags her to the park and she wonders why he is very happy. But Froggy says that it's his birthday and they are planning a surprise for him. Meanwhile, in the classroom, preparations for the birthday celebration are in place, and Wang goes in search for the birthday egg. He enters a dark cave and sees some birthday eggs. He walks down to pick up one. Wang takes the egg back to the classroom after battling with a monster back in the cave. Back at the park, Froggy and Xiao Yu are staring at a fountain, and they see Instructor Pan. Instructor Pan tells them that she is going to get her phone back in the refining room. Froggy becomes worried and runs back to the building to stop the instructor before she spoils the surprise. Froggy enters the building and sees that Wang has successfully obtained the birthday egg. Froggy suddenly hears the footsteps of the instructor and immediately changes form into a handsome teacher and hands her her phone. He also uses his charm to distract the teacher and promises to take her to see a movie, and she leaves happily. Froggy transforms back into his normal self and notices people coming towards him. He also remembers that his mom boiled the egg at a very high temperature. He notices that the boys are boiling the egg at low heat and rushes to warn them. Back in the classroom, the egg hatches and monsters from the egg possess the boys and Sun. Wang comes in and destroys all the cake monsters, leaving the birthday room in a mess. Froggy comes in and uses his power to get back in time, knowing fully well that it would drain his life essence. Everything becomes normal and Froggy enters the room and notices that the birthday party was for Xiao Yu all along, and he becomes really surprised and shocked. Xiao Yu, on the other hand, becomes very emotional and begins to cry as she thanks her friends. Froggy, however, still remains surprised because of all he has done to save the surprise birthday party he thought was his. Will they ever remember Froggy's birthday? And all that he has done to save their efforts? We'll find out that and more in due time. For now, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel to get more anime recaps like this. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.